Let the minutes reflect that adequate notice of the holding of this regular meeting of the Howell Township Council was provided for in the following manner: by the posting of a copy of said notice upon the bulletin board in the Township Municipal Building on January 8, 2020, by the emailing of a copy of said notice to the Asbury Park Press, Tri-Town News, and Star Ledger for information and publication on January 8, 2020, by the filing of a copy of said form of notice in the Township Clerk's office on January 8, 2020. The public will be allowed to participate electronically pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law. Any contracts awarded at this meeting or between now and the next meeting will be required to comply with the requirements of Public Law 1975, Chapter 127, NJAC 17:27. In accordance with the Fire Prevention Code, be advised that this facility is designed with emergency exits for your safety. Upon exiting the meeting room, they are to your left and to the right. Please take note that this meeting is being live streamed and videotaped for possible future broadcast on Howell Television. Oh, I'm so sorry. If I just take attendance. Mr. Bonovich?
Present.
Ms. Richmond? Absent this evening. Mr. Russo?
Here.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell? Here. Mayor Berger?
There is, Mayor. We have updates on litigation, in particular the Stavola versus L&L case, the transfer station case. We have an update on Colel.
Okay. Can I have a motion to go into executive?
Motion to go into executive session?
Second.
Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
I'll read the executive session resolution. Whereas the governing body of the Township of Howell is authorized pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12 to exclude the public from that portion of this meeting for purposes of discussing specific matters as permitted by NJSA 10:4-12. And whereas the governing body of the Township of Howell intends to discuss certain matters which are deemed confidential pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12 in executive session, whereas at this time the governing body of the Township of Howell cannot determine the time when the discussion to be held in executive session will be made public, but will disclose the minutes of the executive session when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the Township of Howell that this meeting shall be adjourned to an executive session, and the public will be excluded in order that the governing body of the Township of Howell may discuss the items previously listed, and upon reconvening this public meeting, the presiding officer will announce, if possible, the time when and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in executive session will be disclosed to the public.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to resume the meeting. It is 6 o'clock, September 15th, 2020. The executive session minutes from tonight's meeting can be disclosed to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. I would like to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance and have a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept the minutes, Mayor.
A second?
Second?
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich.
I have to abstain. I was absent.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Do we have a report from the officials?
So, Mr. Gagan.
Actually, I just want you to say that, because then we'll go here first.
Okay, so Mr. Gagan has a personal issue tonight. He's not here, so he's asked me to address a couple of topics for him.
Yeah. We're going to do council first,
So you can do council first, and then I'll
and then you'll go.
go.
Awesome.
All right.
Councilman Bonovich?
I guess to comment on the brush pickup, on social media, I saw a lot of complaints about our shared agreement with Colts Neck. I talked to the DPW, and we saw today, our DPW was only there one day, a total of one day. And then I asked for, actually, about how much brush was picked up, and it was pretty impressive. Hold on, I'm looking. So, I mean, where is it? Hold on. The DPW, they've collected 466 loads, which is 1,400 cubic yards of material. So yes, it was all Howell, and we were in Colts Neck for one day. So for all those questions, let's put that to rest. That's it.
Councilman Russo?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to thank our police department and Howell employees for putting on a very moving 9/11 memorial.
Amazing.
It was moving, to say the least. And I want to thank you all for making it possible, for attending. We're very fortunate in Howell Township, where we support our police. And I just want to thank them for all they do.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Yes. Just in terms of letting everyone know, the farmers market will continue through the fall and have a holiday as well, early in December. So the original date of secession has now been transferred through the beginning of December. Senior Advisory Committee, although we have not been meeting, the senior building is still doing all of the things they always do, which is serving the seniors. Food is still being delivered. So even through the COVID, it's been remarkable how people are still being serviced. Again, I'm sorry that Mr. Geegan isn't here because, again, I'd like to talk about dangerous trees. I know that Mr. Geegan can make the determination of how much money can be spent. And again, I'm going to ask that a certain amount of money be set aside and we do have a person that could make those decisions on what trees are dangerous, which are not. And I think that we just really have to start trimming, which I think also would bring us to an ordinance when we look at things being built. I think we have to actually stop people from planting underneath utility lines. I think that has to be something in writing. It has to be firm, because it's just a problem in 7 years, 10 years, whatever.
Wouldn't this be part of the Shade Tree Commission's responsibilities?
The ordinance? Well,
No, I mean, come to us with for the information for the ordinance. I mean, is the shade tree included in this discussion, is my question.
like, could be. I just think that we have the professionals that could just actually put this together. The ordinance, we could be looking at it at the next meeting.
Well, I mean, you could also have the Shade Tree Commission come in, which this is part of their responsibility to be part of this initiative.
Well, well, to a degree, yes. I mean, most of it is, from my experience with it, is
Well,
making
Brian
sure.
is certainly not going
Well,
to look at trees.
What I
Well,
can
we have
do is,
certified
what I
people.
typically do with an ordinance, and I'm sorry to jump in, is I typically take the laboring or on drafting. So I will look, to neighboring communities and sort of get a start on it and then loop in the people that should be for their input.
Thank you.
Right, because Mr. Geegan can make the assessment of monies, and then we could start actually, getting that job done. It was a horrible thing, but a couple of weeks ago, again, someone was killed, that the tree hit them and killed them. Doesn't happen frequently, but when it happens, it's obviously devastating, notwithstanding the amount of damage that it does to people's properties. And lastly, for a while now, I've been talking about the energy savings program that the Board of Ed did with their buildings. My understanding from Mr. Geegan is that Mr. Sanasak thought that we should go a different direction other than the firm that he had used. So I'm going to forward some information to you, Mr. Clerk, that I wish that you would give to Mr. Geegan. Maybe there can be some kind of a meeting, or at least some kind of a starting conversation. We need to start conserving not just the energy, but also the taxpayers' pocketbooks. So, it's a long process. We own a lot of buildings in Howell as a municipality, so we really have to begin that journey.
Understood.
And that is it.
Okay, so we have proclamations. Hunger Action Month. Who has that?
I have that one, Mayor. Thank you. Proclamation, September 2020, Hunger Action Month. Whereas hunger and poverty are issues of grave concern in the United States and the state of New Jersey, whereas the Township of Howell is committed to taking steps to raise awareness about the need to combat hunger. And whereas the Township of Howell is committed to working with Fulfill to educate people about the roles and importance of food banks in addressing hunger and to devote more resources and attention to hunger issues. And whereas more than 215,000 individuals in Monmouth and Ocean counties now rely on food provided by Fulfill and its partners since the beginning of the pandemic. And whereas the unemployment level is the highest it has ever been in the history of the state, and the poverty level for a family of four is $25,465, and 9.5% of families live below that level. Whereas since March 13, 2020, Fulfill has provided 1,986,909 meals, wow, including 16,000 more meals per day than the year before, and 903,984 of those meals were provided to Monmouth County residents. It's amazing. Whereas due to the pandemic, 1 in every 6 people in Monmouth and Ocean counties receive emergency food from Fulfill and their network of food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters, and other community organizations. And whereas food banks across the country, including Fulfill, will host numerous events throughout the month of September to bring awareness and attention to encourage involvement in an effort to end hunger in their local community. Now there be it proclaimed that Mayor Berger and the Council of the Township of Howell, Monmouth County, New Jersey, do hereby recognize September as Hunger Action Month in the Township of Howell and call this observance to the attention of its citizens. And let me just add that I've volunteered to Fulfill. If you ever want to volunteer for a great organization, reach out to them. They're always accepting volunteers. It is a fantastic organization that does a lot of good for Monmouth Ocean County. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman.
I have ovarian cancer. No one has that one?
No. You have thank a police
Yep,
officer.
yep. Proclamation. Thank a Police Officer Day. Whereas bravery and heroism are not only character traits for the police officers, rather they are job requirements. And whereas every day those who wear the police badge put their lives on the line to keep the public safe. And whereas every time an officer is dispatched to an incident, they have no idea of the dangers that await them. And whereas according to statistics reported to the FBI, 89 law enforcement officers were killed in the line of duty incidents in 2019. Of these, 48 officers died as a result of felonious acts, and 41 officers died in accidents. And whereas on September 15th, the public will have an opportunity to thank law enforcement officers for their work on National Thank a Police Officer Day. And whereas the event has been organized by the Whole Truth Project, an organization set up to protect and serve those who protect and serve our communities. And whereas the Whole Truth Project founder and Chicago-based attorney, Mr. Andrew Hale, said, "We want people to show their appreciation for the job the brave men and women of law enforcement do every day." And whereas someone simply saying thank you or offering a cup of coffee can go a long way showing how much they're appreciated. Now therefore be it proclaimed that Mayor Berger of the Township of Howell, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, do hereby recognize September 15th as Thank a Police Officer Day in the Township of Howell and encourage our citizens to recognize the contributions and sacrifices of the Howell Township Police Officer. Thank you, guys.
We also have a proclamation for Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas September has been designated as National Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and whereas Turn the Town Teal is a campaign to create awareness of ovarian cancer and its symptoms. Volunteers tie ribbons throughout town centers and hand out symptom cards. And whereas ovarian cancer is now referred to as the silent disease, as its symptoms are often vague and subtle. There is no early detection test for ovarian cancer, which means it is critical that women become aware of the known symptoms. And whereas 1 in 67 women will develop ovarian cancer in their lifetime, 2/3 of those diagnosed will die. And whereas if detected in early stages, the survival rate of ovarian cancer is 90 to 95%. And whereas increased public awareness of the disease, its risk factors, and subtle symptoms may save lives as women across New Jersey and their doctors learn to recognize the warning signs of ovarian cancer, which are often only early indication of illness. And whereas more ovarian cancer research can help to develop reliable diagnostics, better therapies, and prevention strategies, thereby offering women in New Jersey the opportunity to win their battle for life against this most deadly of all gynecological cancers. Now therefore, I, Teresa Berger, Mayor of Howell, and the council do thereby proclaim September 2020 as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month in Howell Township and support the Turn the Town Teal's awareness campaign. Ladies, please go out, make sure that you go to your doctor annually and you get tested and you take all the exams that you're supposed to do annually or every other year. Please make sure you do that. It's very important. Joe.
So just quick update, Mr. Gagan had asked me to, so the planning board had been having issues with their online platform. They switched to Zoom and it is working much better, so they're going to be going with that. Updated figures on the brush pickup, they just came in, 518 loads, 15,540 cubic yards. And again, for the people wondering about Colts Neck, there was one crew of 3 men who worked in Colts Neck for 1 day. And they left all the brush at the Colts Neck DPW.
Okay. So I guess we'll open up for discussion. Hearing of citizens.
Thank you, Mayor. Our first comment is from Tina Smilik, brush pickup. First, I would like to say what a great job Public Works did on the brush pickup they picked up so far. A town our size at this time.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Thank
Sorry.
you.
On this note, I would like to know why it was decided Howell Public Works would pick up brush in Colts Neck before having the work completed in Howell. When this council approved the shared services contract with Colts Neck, Mr. Bayer, who was filling in for Joe Clark, specifically said Howell would always come first. Please don't give me the line that it was only done on overtime. If we had crews willing and able to work overtime, they should have been used to complete Howell first. There are many streets in the developments that are down to 1 lane, which is a safety concern. Colts Neck made the decision to lay off their public works. This is not a concern to the taxpayers of Howell who pay for the equipment and maintenance. How many days, well, we know this already, how many days did it take Howell to complete Colts Neck? Was the work done only during overtime? As per our shared service contract, we had to agree on a price before doing the work. What was the price that was given to Colts Neck? I hope we don't have to expect this during snowstorms or leaf pickup.
So do we have those numbers?
I do not have the numbers,
Well,
so
let's hear.
we'll have to look into it. I mean, we had one crew of 3 men out there for 1 day, so we can figure out what the bottom line is on that. Not substantial.
I know, but if they ask, then let's just give the information, right?
These questions came in 10 minutes before the meeting.
I hear you. No, I'm not saying that.
Optimum online website to report issues. This is no longer functioning. Is there an issue with this page, or is it no longer valid for Howell residents? Many residents are having issues with Optimum, which is making it difficult for people to work from home or remote learning. I think it is time for council to send a letter to BPU on our disappointment of services.
Can I say I agree 1,000,000%? It is horrible. It is horrible. Our internet services in this town are horrible.
And Joe, I guess we've talked about this in the past. You know, we have to renegotiate their contract, and that's coming up. So, you know, if the internet's not working and their complaint forms, that's not even working, you know, we gotta have them come to the table and maybe Verizon come to the table and see.
It's
see what we can
certainly
do.
not a cheap, expense for the people that live in the town. I mean, it's very expensive, Cablevision.
It's not working.
No,
And
we
it
are
doesn't
in the
work.
process of renegotiating. So there's two processes for a provider to get a franchise within a geographic area. One way to do it is how Verizon is doing it. They're going right to BPU for their renewal. So we can, and I'm speaking with our council on that, so we can go to BPU and we can make our thoughts known on that. The other way to do it is how we did it with Cablevision, Altice, Optimum. So we have a specific franchise ordinance in place with them. It's expiring, and so we're in the process of renegotiating that right now. So all of these, concerns that people have, all of the complaints, they're being relayed to Altice, and we will deal with them during our franchise negotiations.
One thing in the interim, I mean, you know, that form was created by Altice, correct? And we put it on our website?
Correct.
Could we have our IT put up our own form, collect all the submissions, complaints, and then send that along to the BPU at one shot?
Sure, I'll look into that.
Because that's the
I
way to
mean-
do it.
I
Why
mean, it makes
depend on
sense.
them? Let us field the complaints and send them all one shot, so,
I agree.
okay.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Could I just add something?
Yeah.
One of the business owners, well, actually several, but was talking about on Route 9, when their service went down, I assume it was Comcast, that homes have it, but it's not available to businesses. And when Verizon went down, and they could go to Comcast, I mean, people are willing to bring on a different server, but it's not available to them. So while we're negotiating, can we find out why homes can have it and not businesses, other than the fact that they can make a better profit off of the amount of homes?
Do we want to keep that Cablevision product,
I think it was Comcast.
which is not good?
We can look into all of that and discuss it
I
with
had
them.
reported it to Mr. Geegan. I'll go back over my notes, but yeah, it just doesn't make sense that businesses can't function.
No.
That's absurd. Sorry, thank you.
Resolution R2289. These shelters have been an issue for a while now. This goes back to when they tried to put up digital advertising on bus stop shelters, and the state said they could not after half the work was complete. Does this company have anything to do with the upkeep of these shelters? Are there any restrictions on the material that can be advertised?
They'll be responsible for the upkeep. If for some reason the shelter is destroyed or damaged, we would have the responsibility through NJ Transit to install a new one. And as far as I know, there is no restriction on the types of advertisements that can be put in there, other than, obviously, some would not be permitted, I think we can all agree, guess what those might be.
Joe, I was reading through the, in the binder. We had absolutely no one else bid on them, correct?
No, it's nearly impossible to get anybody to do this work because the margin is so limited. We're actually kind of fortunate to have found somebody to do
So
it.
it's not due to lack of advertising or notice or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Resolution R2302. After these resolutions pass, what happens to them? Are they sent to be read into record at the MRRSA, MRSA meeting? If we are against this, shouldn't a representative from the town be present at a meeting to put something on the record? How many people are currently hooked up to the sewer or will be hooked up before this goes into effect? How many businesses are hooked up or will be before this goes into effect? Seems we pass a lot of resolutions without any follow-up.
That was actually a really good question. Could you answer that?
So right now, it'll be sent to MRSA when it passes. If any members of the council want to attend the next MRSA meeting, they're certainly entitled to do that. Specifically, I was asking the deputy mayor to put together the resolution. We're looking for an extension of time to hook up until March 1st. And by that, I mean, we're looking for an extension of the increased connection fees until then. What MRSA does with it, I do not know, but we're fighting to get that. It's important because, as everybody knows, we have one of our largest capital projects, probably the largest in history of Howell, happening in Freewood Acres right now. So there's 650 homes there, all of which are at some point going to have to hook up. Now, it's going to be more costly by about $250 to hook up afterwards. So we are encouraging everybody in Freewood Acres to hook up now. We have a program in place that we've advertised as part of our affordable housing settlement, where there is assistance for hooking up to the water and sewer. We urge everybody to look into it. It's a very good program. We're getting a very good response. We have a limited amount of money, though, so people who are looking to hook up should be doing that as quickly as possible. At some point in the near future, and I've got to discuss this with our engineering department, we're going to be sending out a must connect letter. In other words, we are going to be telling everybody within 1 year of your receipt of this letter or the date of this letter, you must connect to the sewer. It's part of it, it has to happen by ordinance. People will have to connect to the sewer. So I would want to see as many people as possible connect ahead of that increase. So we're going to make sure that the word keeps getting out. Assuming the ordinance passes tonight, it's going to go to MRSA. I would anticipate more than one member of council to be there, and we are going to keep working with everybody to get them hooked up and ahead of that increase.
Also, our representatives, I'd spoken to them before I talked about this at the last meeting, and, obviously everybody's very upset that MRSA couldn't see giving a few months of a waiver. I mean, we have, obviously. So the two representatives from HAL are happy to address this as well at the next meeting. So hopefully maybe a little pressure from HAL in considering the forced hookup, considering the history of this community that's suffered for decades. I'm hopeful that the holiday spirit comes upon them.
What was, why do we choose March 1st? Why couldn't it be June 1st? Why March? Any reason for that?
It's just 6 months after the
Okay, I'm just-
October 1st. My suspicion is that we're unlikely to get, I'm not even sure we would get until March 1st, to be honest. So we asked for as much as we could, assuming that we're going to get less than that.
Okay.
We thought it was a more reasonable time, hopefully.
Resolution R2308. Are there any costs associated with owning this sanitary sewer pump station? Are we then required to maintain the property? I don't think we need an added expense or work. But if there is no cost or work associated, I'm good.
I don't know the answer to this one, so I will check with engineering and I will find out.
Fair enough.
Resolution 9C.2. Just want to thank Mr. Palazzo for answering my questions. If his explanation is correct, this will not cost us more money or affect the 2021 budget. In closing, I just want to say, as this election season starts, please keep the rhetoric to official business. Ad hominem arguments are pointless and hurtful, not only to the person it is being done to, but to the family of that person. Mayor Berger, thank you for representing this town professionally, getting us through this pandemic while others just focused on promoting a false narrative against you. You have always put Howell first, and it's truly appreciated. Just know you are a beautiful person on the inside and out, and we as residents see that. I wish you all the best. Stay safe, stay well. Tina Smilek.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It made my month. Go ahead.
Mr. Palazzo. Ms. Smilek, I guess, had questions as well as I did the last couple of days. Do you have, these two bond ordinance resolutions. Can you give us a brief synopsis? I mean, I kind of picked it apart, and I just, basically, as I see it, we were at 4.5%, and redoing these bonds, we're going to 2%. But anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, so we were presented with an opportunity by our bond counsel and financial advisors. Interest rates for bonds currently are at quote-unquote historic lows. So it would be very advantageous for us to try to lock in. We have a significant amount of notes, bond anticipation notes that are outstanding on our books. We are proposing to bond $30.64 million. It's some of that, there's approximately about $3 million worth of new money that we're going to borrow to do road improvement projects that were approved in 2019's budget. But as far as how the budget, how it would affect it going forward, so the weighted average of the ordinances that are being funded in the ordinance will be able to allow us to stretch the bond out for 16 years. So it allows us to, monies that were budgeted in this year's budget for note principal paydowns will just be shifted to principal paydowns of the bonds for the 2021 budget. So in effect, it's basically a net zero exchange.
Except for the additional 3, right?
Pardon?
Except for the additional 3?
No, that's including.
That's included.
That's
Awesome.
including. So yeah, so with these rates being at a very low rate, our existing bond anticipation notes were expiring next month anyway. So when the opportunity presented itself, I had several discussions with our financial advisor and our bond counsel, and we determined if it budgetarily was the right thing to do, then we would absolutely try to pursue this. Right now, the market is garnering, we're hoping 2% interest rates. When we did our bonding, our last bonding in 2018, we got about rates that were between 4 and 5%. So so we definitely want to take advantage of this on such a large issue. It would just be so beneficial to have that and as well on the 2020 the 2022 budget, we have a large principal and interest payment that is coming off the books from our 2010 general obligation bond. So there will be consecutive years where there are reductions to our debt service budgeted. As well, in next year's budget, there's a few amortization reductions for our debt service that's with the Monmouth County Improvement Authority. Also, as well, there was an opportunity to refund bonds that were issued in 2013. Bonds that were issued in 2013 actually refinanced bonds that were originally issued in 2005. We are permitted to refund a refunding bond, so they are two separate transactions. But currently, our financial advisor, based on a 2% interest rate projection, we're currently at a $1,080,000 savings in interest over the course of the life of the bond. So as much as it, the original plan was to utilize the decrease in the 2022 budget as far as budgeting for any new bond payments. That was my original plan, but when we took a look at the numbers and saw how we could do it, and it just, everything seemed to fit into place. And if we can get 2% interest rate on a bond, it's the fiscally prudent thing to do.
Very nicely done.
Yeah,
So,
Very nicely done.
Great job,
Great
guys.
job. I mean, this, and if contrary, if we weren't to do it, going through the council's memo and Lou's questions and his notes, if we weren't to
I
bond,
think it's foolish.
well, our debt service next year would increase 375,000.
Right.
So we're not getting increased, we're, as Mr. Palazzo said, zero. And then he's refunding the 2013 bonds, if we're saving $1 million, it's a great job.
Thank you. As well, as a preliminary step to issuing these bonds, a week ago Tuesday, I had a conference call with Standard & Poor's to basically they need to re-rate the township. We haven't received their results yet, but by all accounts, I'm hoping it went very positively. I've been reassured that, I'm hoping that our rating stays stable, but anything that happens to our rating will be communicated to the council, to the township manager, and obviously, we will, hoping for a, really good sale. Those results will be communicated to the council and manager as well, and
Great
cross our
savings.
fingers for a great rate.
savings to the town people. That's so amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So everybody out there, I want you to know that Lou did his real work this year.
Sweet Lou.
Amongst other things.
COVID-19.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, we have comment from Barbara Dixell, who faxed in for comments. Resolution 982, memorialize authorization of award of contract without public bidding pursuant to the provisions of New Jersey New Jersey Administrative Code 40A 1116, Global Building South Tower Roof Emergency Repairs Roofing for $47,605. The Global Building was bought for $6,500,000. Mayor Walsh and council said, "I want it." Walsh worked in real estate. Money for the Global Building came from the Harms Pinnacle site. DeBella was mayor and banged the gavel at 1 a.m. and bonded $150 million to buy the Harms Pinnacle site in Town Hall. I was the only person left at Town Hall when DeBella ended the meeting. The Global Building was on for a tax sale and could have been bought for $3,000 because they never paid their bills. They won a tax appeal. Mayor Walsh said, "I want it," and the council bought the Global Building for $6,500,000. The building needed a new roof. They put tar on the roof as a fast fix. The entire roof leaked. Mold in the garage smelled throughout the building. The heating system had to be replaced. There was fiberglass in the air conditioning ducts. Building was built with Bow Construction. Building had no lightning rod. Everyone would die if Global ever got hit with lightning or had a fire. Building had no permits, inspections, or COs. There was a 5-year plan to fix the building. The building was 20 years old and not up to code or safe to be in. Harms Construction sued Howell over the Pinnacle site. Millions of Howell taxpayer dollars was spent to buy the Global that never should have been bought. So here we are again. The South Tower roof over the clerk's office and that side of the building must have emergency repair and a new roof for $47,605. Don't bill the taxpayers of Howell for another dangerous construction or code problem or violation for the Global Building. The taxpayers of Howell have been raked over the coals long enough for the Global Building. I want the DEP and Governor's Office to be contacted, and I want every inch of this Global Building to be inspected. If the Global Building is found to be unsafe for Howell employees to work in, then this building must be evacuated until any code or construction violations are fixed and the building is deemed to be safe to be in.
Mayor, if I may add, the township filed a claim with our insurance company for the damage that was done to the roof. The township has been reimbursed by the insurance company for those repairs that were made.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was during the tropical storm as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, James Clark, a Howell resident, sent an email with comments. I am respectfully submitting these items for the mayor and council for the meeting this evening. I am requesting that rather than my questions not be addressed, that the person in question respond. Here are my questions. 1, I have now read online that Mayor claims she personally preserved 65 acres of open space. However, it is unclear how any one person can preserve land and that if it's an action of the whole governing body. So can someone confirm that in fact the mayor did not personally preserve and that only the full governing body can do that? Can this please be confirmed so the public is not misled? Please answer.
Sure. So I never said that I did it by myself. I worked with the professionals, worked with members of the council, absolutely, but I signed the document. I did it.
The mayor.
Number two, regarding the planning board, I understand that the mayor has a seat by law, but that the mayor has delegated someone else to take her seat. Is that true that the mayor is not on the planning board this year? Please-
Yes, that is true.
That's all that Mr. Clark has. Next comments from Mary Johnson, a Howell resident, sent via email. I have the following questions for the council meeting this evening on September 15th. I have heard the mayor public tout and put on the internet that she stopped development. However, it seems like this is her puffing up her resume falsely, as I have not seen this. Well, very specifically in detail, has she done, as I have not seen anything from her on this?
So I don't know who this person is, but she's never actually asked me anything directly, so, that's number one. Number two, I believe I just answered the question, right?
Under the Howell form of government, can elected officials direct township employees to take action and directly engage with them, or do elected officials have to work through the manager? It is a violation of the law if one was to happen. Most respectfully, Mary Johnson.
Mr. Clark?
So the answer is we're a Faulkner Act form of government. We are the council manager form. The manager, the council sets policy. The manager is responsible for day-to-day operations. The manager is responsible, for the most part, for hiring and firing, the direction of employees and that type of thing. So that's general background. Turning to Ms. Johnson's question specifically, can elected officials direct township employees to take action and directly engage with them? The answer is typically not. You are allowed to contact employees, but you are not allowed to direct them in their duties. Do elected officials have to work through the manager? Typically is a violation of the law if one was to happen. So it's hard to say because it's fact sensitive. It could be. It just depends on the type of contact and direction and that. So without more, I mean, it's a qualified yes to that question. It can be a violation.
Thank you.
I have another comment from Billy Thompson, a Howell resident, sent via email. I have a question for the mayor and council members for tonight. Specifically, I read the governing body voted on a resolution to ask the state to allow in-person voting. Who voted in favor of that resolution and who voted no? All that matters at election time is they voted yes and no without the political spin. So who voted for it and who voted against it without all the political fast talk? Thank you, Billy Thompson.
Read the minutes.
Yeah, it's all in the minutes.
Okay, and this particular comment came from Ari Levine through email, but it was after the public comment at the August meeting. Dear Mayor Berger and council members, with regard to the events to the pop-up party this past Sunday, August 9th, why did intelligence fail to catch the invites to this party on Wilson Drive? Hundreds of people, most likely over 1,000 people, knew about it. Failure. Is the ABC charging taxes for the sale of alcohol? Where are the permits for the party and liquor and income tax? What took Howell Police Department so long to alert surrounding police departments that they may need assistance? Why wasn't anyone arrested or ticketed for smoking pot or drinking alcohol in the streets and underage drinking? Why wasn't anyone arrested or ticketed for urinating on neighbors' properties? Why wasn't anyone given a ticket for speeding through a residential area? What was the plan if any of the homeowners had an emergency? Guests of the party would not pull over to allow cars to go through the streets, and party guests walked in front of our cars as we were trying to drive down our street. Why wasn't it reported what homeowner was actually arrested for? What wasn't I'm sorry, why wasn't the homeowner's name on the news? Howell
This is
Township
a
Police.
question, with all due respect, I hear the question, but I mean, this is an answer that should come from the chief. I don't think that any one of us have all the answers to all of those questions on that sheet. I mean, with all respect, I think, maybe we could ask the chief to reply to that, or, I'm not sure how we would get him to assist with the answer of that, but I really do believe that he should.
Okay. Then he, pretty much it's going on,
Yeah, I get it, but again, I don't think that any of us could answer the questions. We weren't on the scene at the time.
Questions directed to the wrong person.
Yeah.
Okay, and let me see if anything else has come in. Nope, that's it for public comment.
Awesome, thank you. Okay,
Consent.
consent agenda.
All right. Motion to move 9A1 through 9A27?
I'll second.
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. There are no motions this evening, so we'll go directly to the resolution slash motion requiring separate votes. Okay, just give me a sec.
9C1?
9C1.
Mayor, and the reason why these were set aside, because they need a two-thirds supermajority.
So may I have a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve 9C1.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. May I have a motion for RC2?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve 9C2.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you. May I have a second?
Second?
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Ordinances. Just give me one sec, please. I don't think we've ever gone this quickly. Okay. Ordinance 0-20-15, 10.1. Capital ordinance providing for the purchase of land from the United Talmudical Academy for Open Space and appropriating $1.60 $1,060,000. Okay. Ordinance number 0-20-15, introduced and passed on first reading on 8/11/20, and published according to law, is now being taken up for further consideration and public hearing. Affidavit of publication of this ordinance in the Asbury Park Press issue of 8/14/20 is submitted, and is noted that a copy of the ordinance has been posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and that copies were available to the general public upon request. So is there,
Type.
I'm going to open it.
I was just going to read
Okay, go ahead.
the title. Okay. Title of ordinance, capital ordinance providing for the purchase of land from the United Talmudical Academy for open space and appropriating $1,060,000 therefore, authorized in and by the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. And Mayor, there were no comments
no
that came
comments on
in
this? Okay.
related to the ordinance adoption.
Thank you, Allison.
So I'll make the motion that ordinance number 0-20-15 be finally passed and adopted, and that notice of its passage and adoption be published in the 9/18/20 issue of the Asbury Park Press, reference to its title only.
I'll second.
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Introduction of ordinance 0-20-16, 11.1, refunding bond ordinance, Series 2013. May I?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance number 0-20-16 on first reading by title and to the order the same be published in the 9/18/2020 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it must be further considered for final passage after public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on 10/6/2020 at 7:30 PM prevailing time in the municipal building.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mayor, real quick, so it says, I mean, if you want to be technical about it, it says 7:30. We've been having our meetings at 6 o'clock. Does that matter,
Good point.
Joe?
No, because the notice that's going out has the correct times. I mean, we can fix it in the agenda, but the times that we post are the correct times for the meetings.
Cool.
Thank you.
Title of ordinance: Refunding bond ordinance of the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, providing for the refunding of all or a portion of the callable maturities of the township's general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2013, appropriating an amount not exceeding $16,595,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $16,595,000 general obligation refunding bonds of the Township of Howell for financing the cost thereof. Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. At this point, the next regular meeting is Tuesday, October 6th. Right now, we're saying that it's 6:30 for executive and 7:30 for regular, but that is subject to change, correct?
Correct.
Okay. We will adjourn the meeting, so I'd like a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That works.
Look at that.
No, go ahead, I'm just,
Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
yes, ma'am.
Thank you.